is a classic, a guy being bullied standing up against a bully. And Scott, one of the first things in the first press conference that when they had the face-to-face, Anthony Fowler said to him was, "Just so you know, I'm going to knock you out." And I think things like that just woke up Scott Fitzgerald, so he knew he had to take this fight seriously, which he clearly did as a fight. Now, the first 3 rounds, I gave it to Anthony Fowler. He just looked to see if his jab was, because he was rangier, so he was using his jab a lot, and it was still a close rounds, but I still had him just shading each round. And after the 3rd round, by the 4th round, Scott settled down a little bit, started pressuring Anthony Fowler a little bit more, and Fowler, and I think that was a turning point in terms of the fight, stopping Anthony Fowler from gaining more momentum. And you could see after the 4th round, you could see Fowler blowing. And the reason why I say that is because Fowler is the sort of guy, and the commentary team says it, all through from what I've seen, he uses a lot of energy. He burns a lot of energy. He loads up in every shot, and every shot has got like main intentions. But Scott's was just, even though he was losing the rounds, he was still calm because he just saw it as a 10-round fight. In the 5th round was, I've seen this fight about 3 times. The 5th round, when I first saw it twice, I gave it to Scott Fitzgerald, and I saw it again last night before I went to bed. Without they gave it to, it could have gone either way. You could have, if you like someone throwing a bit more, landing a little bit more soft punches against someone throwing the telling punches, you could choose. So Fowler threw, I think he might have landed a little bit more than Scott, but Scott landed the telling shots. So for argument's sake, I'm just going to give it to Fowler. So it was 4-1 at that time. 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, round 6, 7, and 8. I gave it to Scott Fitzgerald because he looked more confident, and he was landing and telling shots. He was starting to even bully Anthony Fowler a little bit, and there's same points when Anthony Fowler would complain about headshots. Like there's few times when Scott Fitzgerald just kept on landing that right hand over Fowler's because his hand was down, or over a lazy jab. So, and every time he landed, they might have clashed head, but it was unintentional. Scott Fitzgerald just kept on reshuffling towards Anthony Fowler's left hand side. So basically, the reason doing that was basically when you reshuffle to the left hand side, it takes away Anthony Fowler's dangerous right hand, because he's got obviously a more powerful right hand than his jab. So if he landed that jab with a right hand or a right uppercut, that would have been more dangerous for Scott Fitzgerald. So he stuck to that game plan. That was a beautiful game plan between him and his dad, because they just kept on walking away from Anthony Fowler's right hand sides. But in the 9th round, he made his lapse of concentration, and he walked straight into the right uppercut of Anthony Fowler. And Anthony Fowler clearly hurt Scott Fitzgerald, but the reason why I say his ego got the better of it, because he just went to just finish the job. And for someone who's had over 200 amateur fights, he should have known. He should have known that when you're trying to go for the finish, if you're not landing too many shots and just loading in the odd 1 or 2 entering, you should know that, especially when you've never been into the 9th rounds before, this is your first time, you're putting a lot into your shots and the guy's not going nowhere. And the beautiful thing about Scott Fitzgerald is that when he was hurt, he just tucked up and he just kept on moving slightly. He didn't stay in one place. His hand is high up. He had a tighter guard. That was a clear-cut round for Anthony Fowler. Now in the 10th round, you would have said 5-4. Leading into the 10th round, it would have been 5-4 to Anthony Fowler, and all Fowler had to do was just walk on his jab or something, but no, he just wanted to still try and go for the finish because he really hated it, and he just, you know, and towards the end of towards the last minute of the 10th round, it was Anthony Fowler to walk into a right uppercut of Scott Fitzgerald. Now the difference between Scott and Fowler is that you could tell that Fowler didn't anticipate getting hurt by Scott Fitzgerald. He just, there was no way he could see Scott Fitzgerald hurting him or winning the fight. And Scott Fitzgerald was on, he felt like, because Scott Fitzgerald just thought like, yeah, listen, I know this guy could hurt me, so I'm going to tuck up when I can and land shots when I say clear-cut shots. I'm not going to be aggressive or trying to, like, you know, lose my cool, which he did. And reason the difference between when each fighter landed an uppercut, Scott Fitzgerald the right uppercut, and Fowler tried to trade with him when he was clearly hurt. And what happened was after that uppercut, he was hurt. When you're hurt, you're not as sharp as what you usually would be. And Scott Fitzgerald must have given him three left hooks. Now you could see that when he was throwing the left hook, Fowler still mentally didn't want to accept he was getting hurt till it was too late, and Danny was down on the floor. And when he was down on the floor, you could see him. You could see Anthony Fowler speaking to Dave Caldwell. Caldwell was telling him to just take a knee first, hold it together, and probably telling him to hold, because that's what happened. When you're hurt, he did the best thing. Scott Fitzgerald was trying to go for the finish, but Fowler just kept on holding enough just to gain a little bit more energy to still be dangerous. So by the third time, when Scott tried to go for the finish again, I think he tried to throw a right hand, and Fowler tried to like ride the shot and come back with an uppercut. And I think he must have touched Scott Fitzgerald. Scott Fitzgerald just thought, he just definitely thought, oh, this guy's dangerous again. So what he did, he decided to play possum and, you know, walk around it, especially when he was tired as well. He just knew he had nothing in him to finish the job, and because Fowler was still dangerous. So he did the smart thing, because he just thought, I could walk into here, he's almost finished, I've dropped him. If I lose, I lose. At least I dropped him or something. So he was playing possum and, you know, kidology and thing, which was a risky thing to do, but it could have gone either way, where he could have gone in to try and finish the job, and Fowler could have landed another shot and it could have dropped him, like what happened the week before with what's that light welterweight? I'm forgetting, in BT. I'm going to put his name thing. I've just forgotten his name, has escaped me. Anything could happen in the last 10 seconds. So it was the end of the fight. At the end of the fight, usually a lot of fighters have respect for each other. They hug each other. There's one thing Anthony Fowler did which I didn't like. He still tapped him Scott Fitzgerald on his head in a sort of like patronizing sort of way, like, boom, yeah. He just still hasn't learned from that beatdown. Even if he had won that fight, if Anthony Fowler had won that fight, he still would have been pissed off because he got dropped. But anyway, that was definitely a 10-8 round for Scott Fitzgerald. So if I do the maths, that's 5 rounds apiece for both of them. So 5 rounds for Anthony Fowler, that's 50 plus blah blah blah. So I would say, yeah, 94 to Anthony Fowler, and 95 to Scott Fitzgerald. But if you swap the 10 rounds, the 5th round, if you swap that would have been, like Andy Clark said, 96 to Scott Fitzgerald to 93. But one ref had Scott Fowler winning the fight. What was the score again? One judge had Fowler winning the fight. I don't know what fight he was saying. You know, I'm trying to be conservative by giving Anthony Fowler 5 rounds, and that was it. He didn't. It was either 1 point to Scott Fitzgerald or 3 points to Scott Fitzgerald, in my opinion, anyway. But the two judges had it 95-94, which is more of acceptable scorecards, and yeah, the right man won the fight for me, man. I mean, even leading towards like the ring walk, going by the ring walk music alone, Scott Fitzgerald deserved to win that fight just from the ring walk alone. I mean, the way he walked with his swagger and everything. Andy Fowler just tried way too hard, loading up in his shots, just wants to go for the knockout, and he affected him in 2 parts of the fight. By the 4th round, he was already blowing, so he didn't have enough energy on him. And when he tried to over-impress his crowd by the 9th round by blowing his gasket, and if he had tried not to go for the finish in the 9th round, he probably wouldn't have got dropped in the 10th round. He'll live and learn. Like I said, he's got over 200 amateur fights. Now he knows he has to listen. He says he's been listening to Dave Coldwell, but now he knows he can't just, every shot, it's not trying to kill someone with it. You have to, like, you know, change your thing. And a little bit of humbling is what he needed, because there's a lot of guys that have talked a lot before the fight, they've got humbled and they've got beaten up, and they've ended up having a good career. It's happened to Carl Froch with against Andre Ward. It happened to Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew is the right person to tell him. With Adonis Stevenson. It happened to even Dillian White when he fought Anthony Joshua, and they've all came back, learned from it, and not only did they learn from it, the crowd ended up even liking them, being on their side. So he's just got a lot to learn. I hope he learns from it. He's saying little things where he says that he was a flush knockdown, he wasn't hurt. That's rubbish, he was hurt, that's why he was holding. He's trying to say he was holding because they've called it. No, he was holding because he was hurt. Saying, I just can't believe, just other little things tapping in his head. He just needs to learn from it. And he looks like he leaves the sport anyway. He lives the life. He just needs to tone down a little. He just needs to tone it down a little bit, and learn from his mistakes. And yeah, that's all for that fight. I'll talk about the other fights, and catch me on the next video. Uncle T signing out.